Ladies and gamerinos, welcome to the final episode of the Switch 2 Welcome Tour. Yes, we are going to the final area of the game that has been told to us. Area L. We are not going to be taking any L's today, and we're going to walk back. Actually, no, we're not going to walk back. Instead, we're going to walk to the new area. We are going to teleport back because we have our item of the day. Are you going to say the same thing? Blink. Yes, of course you do. Because you're so original. Anyway, we're going to go to Area L, which is on the Switch console itself. Are we going inside? Ooh, that would be really, really cool. That's like a finale. Finale. I don't know why I said it like that. Finale. Yes. Area L is here. Oh, I need to actually press A. Did you get all the stamps in the Area K? The Joy-Con 2 win. You can head on through. This is it. It's time to go inside the console. Oh my god! Wow! Wow! Holy heck! Okay, I'm buzzing for this. Here we go. This is crazy. Oh my god. Okay. I'm genuinely excited for this. Here we go. Say goodbye to the outside world as we go inside of the Switch 2 console. Is there anything over here? There's nothing over here. Okay. Without further ado, let's enter the bowels, the belly of the beast. Ooh. Ooh, okay. Whoa! Nintendo Switch 2 console in an area. Wow. This is actually so cool to see, by the way. When I first came in here, I thought the world had flipped upside down. I'm sure I climbed up a ladder, but it looks like I came down instead. Too strange. I guess that means this is the back of the console from the inside. Wow. Holy heck. This is crazy. This is so crazy to see. Okay, where do we even start? What is up here? Okay, we're gonna quiz up here. Oh, we got a barcode. What is this? Huh, there's writing in here too. Yeah, there is. Got a mini game. Right, okay. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Okay. Oh, there's a stamp here. Battery. Boink. Right. Sorry. Getting too far ahead. We're gonna try and work around this clockwise. Starting off with this quiz. Do you know how many parts there are in the Nintendo Switch 2 console? There's a fucking lot. by the whole zoom out. Do you know anything about its circuit board? No, I'm not an electrician or a circuit boardian. Nintendo Switch 2 console insights 1. There's only 4? I thought it would be a lot more. Maybe they're spread out. Many circuit board parts. On the Nintendo Switch 2 console circuit board, there are twice as many parts as there are on the Nintendo Switch's console circuit board. The most common type of part uses a capacitor. These are used to help maintain stable electrical signals. Since the Nintendo Switch 2 console exchanges electrical signals at much higher speeds than the Nintendo Switch console, the slightest instability can cause it to stop working properly. So what we did was use even more capacitors to ensure that electrical signals were disrupted as little as... Is that a real picture? Or is that a 3D? It looks like that's a 3D render. By enabling the exchange of stable high-speed electrical signals in this way, Nintendo Switch 2 can run at high speeds. High speeds. We all like high speeds. A single circuit board? This is the circuit board entire, yes. Inside the Nintendo Switch 2 console. It might just seem like a single layer at first, but a single sheet is actually made out of more than 10 thin layers. Each of these thin layers contains wiring that connects one component to another. The wires are a bit like the human nervous system. There are thousands of these wires across and on for some reason. I feel like across would be better, so I'm going to say across. There are thousands of these wires across the console circuit board. Each layer uses a slightly different wiring layout. We designed it as if we were trying to solve a puzzle with our hands. Next up, wiring challenges. As you may already know, The circuit board for the Nintendo Switch 2 has 10 overlapping layers and thousands of wires, but the wiring isn't just about connecting all the components together. Other things need to be considered too. For instance, it's not possible to have wires crossing on a single layer. The wires had to be narrower than 0.1mm to avoid overlap. The length of the wiring is important too. When an electric signal runs through a wire, it's about as fast as the speed of light. Now consider the fact that this exchange takes place in a fraction of a billionth of a second. When you have several wires sending data together, they all need to be at the same length, or else the signals will arrive at different times. So we had to make the lengths of each wire match, ensuring that the signals arrive at the same time. And one more thing. We made sure that the wires are not too long, as the signals could become too weak to reach their destination, and not too close to each other, as the signals could get mixed up. Okay. Games. Wow, really? Whoa! Games use a lot of electricity. The Nintendo Switch 2 console is typically used to play games. Wow. Who would have thunk it? So it's also likely to need a lot of electricity. Smart devices let you do much more than play games, but they consume less electricity. The amount of electricity that a smart device needs to run for a day would be used by the Nintendo Switch 2 in about 3 hours. Incidentally, more than half of the electricity is used by the system... Why I read it like downwards. Used by the main computer, which is called the SoC. SoC stands for System on Chip, by the way. I stopped myself before that. Because I'm not a nerd, but I am a nerd. In exchange for reading all these highlights, I'd like to offer you a quiz. Thank you for the quiz. I very much appreciate it. Nintendo Switch 2 console, Volume 1. Okay, question 1. Which of the following consoles has more components on its circuit board than the Nintendo Switch 2 console? Question 2. How many more layers? How many more layers do we have? 10. Over 10. How fast are the signals that travel through the wiring on the Nintendo Switch 2 console circuit board? The speed of a top human athlete. Speed of light. Yes, Usain Bolt is powering the Switch 2, guys. You heard it here first. Which part of the Nintendo Switch 2 console requires over half of its total power usage? The main computer. Done. Also known as the System on Chip, SoC. But we don't tell anyone that, because we're not nerds. Even though we are. You got them all right. Well done. It looks like you learned a lot about the Nintendo Switch 2 console. I did, because I like learning. Whoopee. It seems like there are more insights. Lucky me. Yes, there's a screw here. Anyway. What do you have to say? Hey, Dad, it looks like we go that way too. Wait. Ooh, okay. I did not know that you can go over there. Or under there. Over where? Underwear. Ah! Lamau. You can learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2 console here. You'll find out about the chassis being composed of magnesium, alloy, and plastic, and more. Pretty brainy, right? What do you say? Here's the Insights Part 2. Electromagnetic noise. Whenever there's electric current running through the circuit board's wiring inside the Nintendo Switch 2 console, there will always be electromagnetic noise present. An electromagnetic... I can't say that word like 10 times fast. Electromagnetic noise can sometimes interfere with nearby devices, which can cause them to not work properly. Electromagnetic noise doesn't really penetrate metal, so to prevent a lot of it from escaping the console, we wrap these areas where it's emitted in metal. For instance, take the main computer called the SoC. We encase the SoC in metal to protect a lot of the electromagnetic noise from getting out. Nice. Static electricity. When the temperature is... I got that the wrong way around. When the weather is dry and the temperature is low, you may feel a little shock when touching something metal. This is static electricity. If static electricity hits a game console, the console could stop working or become broken. And of course, we wouldn't want that to happen. So we've employed a few ideas in places where your fingers are likely to touch metal. The game card slot and the Joy-Con 2 magnetic connectors are such 2 places. For example, we added parts to soften the impact of a sudden jolt of static electricity, and spots that absorb it. These spots stop the static electricity from getting to parts that it might otherwise easily damage. Okay. Encased with 2 types of metal. The parts that encase the Nintendo Switch 2 console are made from 2 types of metal. These materials are very tightly attached to each other. One is a magnesium alloy, shown in orange, and the other is plastic, shown in black. The magnesium alloy is on the inside, it's strong and robust, and it also serves to reduce electromagnetic noise. Then there's the outer layer of plastic. Even when the unit gets hot, the plastic lets you touch the console without feeling the heat. We stuck these two metals. Last I checked, plastic isn't a metal. We stuck these two materials together to make full use of them. The console itself is thinner than if we had made it entirely out of plastic, and there's more space on the inside too. Yippee! Console upper USB-C connector. On top of the Nintendo Switch 2 console, you'll find a USB Type-C connector. It can be used to charge the console with battery. This allows the system to charge while you're playing in handheld or tabletop mode, but that's not all. The USB Type-C connector can also be used to connect the Nintendo Switch 2 camera to the console. The camera can be used while you're playing games in TV mode, tabletop mode, or handheld mode. However, the USB Type-C connector cannot be used to connect to the Nintendo Switch 2 dock. This means it's not possible to insert the console into the dock upside down, as funny as that sounds, actually. Such a shame. Oh well. I deserve a prize for weeding. Yes, I deserve a prize for de-weeding the Switch 2 console from the inside. Yes. I also deserve a prize of a drink, so I'm going to get that real quick. Haha, funny jokes on me. My window was open the whole time, so I was telling my neighbors about the glorious insides of the Switch 2. Anyway, I don't think anyone heard anyway. Insights Quiz, Volume 2. Anyway, next. I have been sufficiently hydrated, thanks for asking. What is inside the Nintendo Switch 2's console circuit board wrapped in... What? Oh, wait, what? How did I put inside? What is the Nintendo Switch 2 console circuit board wrapped in to prevent electromagnetic noise from escaping? A blanket. When you touch the metal part of your Nintendo Switch 2 console, it can be transmitted from the hand. Good luck, ultraviolet light, ultra waves, or static electricity. It's that one. I wish it was good luck. The parts that encase the insides of the Nintendo Switch 2 console are made out of plastic and what other metal? Magnesium. Question 4. Which of the following can you not do? You cannot insert the console into the dock. Ooh, trick question. It wasn't a trick question, I just couldn't read. Perfect score! Yippee! Oh, hello. The Switch 2 console is the second home I know. Yes, cool. Before I get, I'd like to introduce you to my associate. You're only introducing him now? At the end of the game? Let me explain. Okay. He's actually my personal assistant. He's always by my side jotting down notes. Though, to be honest, I have no idea what he's taking notes on. He's a bit on the quiet side, but on the inside, he holds a blazing passion. We're conducting an inspection of the venue at the moment. Okay. Cool. I hope your inspection goes well. I'm going to continue tearing up the inside of this. Oh my god, there's so much stuff. There's so much stuff to do. Oh, hello. Lost and found. Nice. I might get lost, actually. Like, genuinely lost. You can go up here. Oh my... There's a ribbon cable. What is this? Microphone. Oh. Nice. Okay. How do I go over here then? I do like how I'm walking on the ribbon cable. I'm walking on ribbon cables. Ah! It doesn't have the same vibe to it, does it? How do I get out? Ah! I'm stuck. Anyway. Where were we? Where am I going? What am I doing? What am I doing? How do I get over there? Oh, I think I see where. Right, we'll go under here first. What is this? Can't go under there. How do I go up here? Surely there must be a way up here, right? I'm genuinely lost inside the Switch 2 console. Oh, is it around here? Hang on, wait, hang on. I think I found it. I find. No? No, I do not find. It feels like there'll be a stamp here as well. Ooh, what is that on top? Is there another area? Ooh. Oh. USB Type-C connector, lower. That's a pretty no-brainer there. I think that's it for this side. So I guess we are scrapping the plan of going clockwise. I guess we do have to go up here and then up here and then work our way around. It looks like, yeah, okay. We do have to do that. Cool. Another quiz. Can I about micro? Oh wait. Ooh, no, because there should be a stamp here, right? Yeah! Woo! This card slot is exclusively for use with micro SD express cards. Nice. I'm guessing you're going to be telling us about them. You can learn about micro SD express cards, memory cards here. You'll find out how a micro SD express card differs from a micro SD card, the speed of a micro SD express card, and more. I am interested. Why is there 5 insights on a fucking SD card? Okay. A micro SD express card can be used to save various Nintendo Switch 2 data. Downloaded games as well as photos and videos taken with the capture button and saved to this card. It's a handy thing to have if you run out of system memory. You can use a micro SD card on the Nintendo Switch console, but only a micro SD express card will work on the Nintendo Switch 2 console. You'll find a place for it in the spot where you can pull out the stand. You'll just need to insert the card into the slot marked micro SD express and you should be good to go. Cool. More pins! More pins. Let's take a closer look at the micro SD express card. While it may look similar to a micro SD card, there are key differences. You should notice that once you flip it over, it has a lot more pins. With these pins, data can be read and written to in a new way. But since the original pins are still there, it can even work as a micro SD card. It's actually compatible with Nintendo Switch consoles. Nice. Gotta love that backwards compatibility. A new way to read and write data. With a micro SD express card, the Nintendo Switch 2 console has a new way to read and write data. Whoa, the 1 and 0s kind of threw me off there. Compared to when you use a micro SD card on a Nintendo Switch console, assume a buffer size of 4 MB, the read speed will be about 8 times faster. However, different cards will typically read and write at different speeds. Some games may be just doing more in the background than just loading, which means loading speeds may not always be around 8 times faster. Reading and writing speeds are getting faster. What? Reading and writing speeds are getting faster. Sure. I don't know why they added that last one in. Micro SD cards, express cards only. Nintendo Switch 2 console only accepts a specific type of card, and that is the micro SD express card. Take note that micro SD cards won't work. The Nintendo Switch 2 console takes advantage of the speed at which micro SD express cards read and write data, and we'd like you to benefit from this extra speed as you enjoy new games. Although, that's not to say that micro SD cards are completely unusable. If you still have photos and images saved to a micro SD card that was used on a Nintendo Switch console, you can copy the data from the micro SD card to the Nintendo Switch 2 console system memory. Nice, okay. Less likely to get hot. The micro SD card, the micro SD express card is fast! In fact, because it sends signals so quickly, it tends to get hot. Naturally, we tried as much as we can to avoid heat buildup. We thought about where to place the micro SD express card slot, and we decided to put it near one of the air inlets to help keep it cool. On top of that, we kept the micro SD express card farther away from other parts of the console that are likely to get hot. We've even applied graphite sheets to the micro SD express card slot. These sheets are effective at transferring heat. The sheets help spread the heat around, which keeps the area cool. Nice. You've read all the insights? Great! I don't know why there were 5 insights from an SD card, but I guess they really wanted to let you know about how you can use the SD card and why you can and can't use it. Which of the following can be inside greeting greeting cards, yeah. Micro SD Express memory cards. What does a micro SD Express memory card have more? What do you mean? What do you mean more ease of? Oh, okay, that does make sense actually. Pins. Pin. How do the read and write speeds of a micro SD Express card compare with that of a micro SD card? They are a lot faster. Question 4. What aspect of the micro SD Express memory cards do games use? The pin's luster. Wait, games for the Nintendo make full use of their read and write speeds. That question confused me because I read it wrong. Switch 2 console has been designed to benefit micro SD Express card in what way? It stops them from, or it doesn't completely stop them. I guess that's the best answer. They're still gonna get hot. It doesn't stop them from heating up, but oh well. Perfect score. Tip on the hat. Yes. Also, I have not got a SD card because I didn't realize that the Switch had 256 gigabytes. I thought it only had 128. which is actually really, really nice. We'll go to this little offshoot where we have a quiz and a demo. The console speakers are nice, but a pair... Oh, wait. Am I going to have to bring out Floor Gang again? I wonder what 3D sound is really like. Apparently you can hear it in the tech demo. Let's check it out. Collected at least 6 medals. If I hadn't have collected 6 medals by now, surely I must have been playing the game horribly wrong. Anyway, let's get this ready for you. So this isn't a game per se, but hear me out. What do you say to a short 3D sound experience? The sound doesn't just play straight from a pair of speakers. The console does some calculations to make it sound like you're really hearing it in 3D. This tech demo can be played with console speakers or with a pair of headphones. Either works. I don't have to go on the floor. Oh! You may hear sounds from places where there are no speakers. Try not to be alarmed. I will not be alarmed. No! Hate. You can learn about 3D sound here. Yes. I guess we'll learn about it and then we'll do it at the end of the video. You'll learn how it sounds when heard through a pair of headphones from the console speakers and more. I'm interested. Alright, then here's console speaker insight 2. Only 3 of them, nice. 3D sound. When you play games that support surround sound on Nintendo Switch 2, you can enjoy 3D sound when it's coming from the Nintendo Switch 2 console speakers or from a pair of headphones. This works not just for Nintendo Switch 2 games, but for Nintendo Switch games as well. You might even hear sound coming from places where there aren't any speakers. Ooh, spooky. Why can't I'm using headphones right now. Why can't you... Whatever, man. When you're listening to 3D sound with headphones connected to the Nintendo Switch 2 console, game sounds are processed to make it seem like they're coming from different directions. For example, if a sound is meant to be coming from the right side in-game, you'll hear that sound in your right ear slightly sooner. The left and right balance are calculated to reach your ears at the right time. This means that there is a slight delay before the sound comes out of the left and right side of the headphones. And that's not all. We use a dummy head microphone to simulate how the sound changes based on several factors, including how it bounces around the external ear in complex ways, how it reverberates through the head, and so on. As a result, it will give the impression that the sound is coming from somewhere else. That is really clever, actually. 3D sound with console speakers. As for 3D sound coming from the Nintendo Switch 2 console speakers, it doesn't work the same way as it does with headphones. On a pair of headphones, sounds from the left and right can be played to each respective ear. In the case of speakers though, you still hear sounds from the right speaker in your left ear and vice versa. The sounds would mix and jumble, making it difficult to hear. So the console speakers employ a certain trick. They cancel out the sound that reaches your opposite ear. So when sound that would reach your left ear plays from the right speaker, complex signals play along with it to cancel out that sound. As a result, sounds from the left will only reach the left ear and sounds from the right will only reach the right. How do they do that? That's like so cool, actually. Anyway, I have a cool little quiz for you. Yes, let's take the quiz. God, we are quizzed up this episode. Console speakers volume 2. Wait, what? What happened to volume... Oh, excuse me. Ugh. I have hiccups now. No! To enjoy games with 3D sound, which feature much they could be compatible with? Ground sound. Surround sound. I assume surround sound, actually. I don't think I actually said it. Maybe I was, like, not listening. When using headphones to listen to 3D sound on the Nintendo Switch 2 console, what happens to the sounds on either side coming from different directions? They are offset. Question 3. When you're listening to 3D sound, the signal emitted to cancel dinner plans. Yes. Pre-orders for downloadable software. No, sounds around, enter the opposite ear, not around the console. That's got to be the best one, to cancel dinner plans. Nice. Okay, perfect score. You aced that. That was inspiring. I bet you could speak about speakers for days now. Yes, I could, but everyone around me would fall asleep. But not me. Anyway, moving onward and upwards to the battery. We have a game! What do you have to say about said game? This looks easy, but I can't get 2 clear medals. You suck! It's a little late in the tour, but I just noticed something about the staff around here. They sure are a cheery bunch. Ah, nice. The stamps are so tough to find down here. I guess why they saved this area. Yeah. I feel like that's going to be a bit of a problem. Oh, that's fantastic. You managed to get 19 medals. It's time to unveil Slot in the Shapes. 4 shapes. Let me guess. Before you explain, let me guess. Mouse controls! In this minigame, you have to make shapes are themed on the 4 suits of a pack of cards into the correct slots. You'll have to move the pieces around using... Say it with me, everyone. Mouse controls! Rotate them so they'll point the right way and they'll slot right in. Your goal is to get the pieces in as quickly as you can. Let's do it. I reckon I can get them in quickly. Because I'm me. And me is very good. 15 seconds! Okay. Right. Quickly fit the shapes into their slots. 1, 2. This is harder than I thought. 3. No! 3. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. 4. I did it. 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 Yippee! Okay. I had a bit of trouble in the last one, but we did it. We missed the game. Oh no, we missed the game. Oh, that's fine. How did you do that? Do you fit shapes for a living or something? Well, actually, I do. I don't. Looks like you have 35 medals. Welcome to Slot in the Shapes 2, Floating Slots. Ooh. In part 2, the slots for each of the shapes will start to float around a bit. It'll be trickier, but try to line them up in the same direction. Let's give it a shot. Boink. Okay. Floating slots. Are we, okay. They are floating. Oh, come on. There we go. Yes. 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 Oh, we are acing this. We are acing this. Oh, wait, maybe not. Oh, yeah, we're doing it, we're doing it, we're doing it. I'm really doing it. I'm a toddler. I can put shapes on slots. Shapes on slots, shapes in slots. God, I'm a toddler, I can't speak. There we go. Nicely done. Boink. And here we go. Look at it, look at it. 100 medals! Yes! You can do it while I'm moving. Of course I did. I'm the best. Go. Anyway, we're on top of the rechargeable lion battery. Rawr. I'm an old school analog artist, but I do find all these insights fascinating. You're boring. What is this? What actually is this? Wireless antenna right. Oh, okay. Cool. That's pretty neat. Oh, that's right. Anyway, 100 stamps. Let's go. That's a pretty big achievement. Would you care to learn about the Nintendo Switch 2 screen's range of colors, or perhaps the refresh rate? Yeah. Last episode I missed a thing, and I didn't realize that the screen was 120 hertz. So yeah. Vivid screen. The Nintendo Switch 2 screen can produce very vivid colors. A deep, vibrant red, for instance. In order to produce such rich colors, a very thick color filter is used. I like my women thick. However, when you use a thick filter, the resulting image will be darker. That's thick with 2 C's, by the way, not thick with a K. If you compensate this with more brightness, the battery will drain more quickly. We didn't want to compromise on battery life, so instead, to keep the image from getting too dark, we made the shining dots pixels as large as they could be. We also made other customizations along these lines. Interesting. Liquid crystal display. The Nintendo Switch 2 screen uses a liquid crystal display. It works in much the same way as the Nintendo Switch console screen. Yes. It's very much brighter and more vivid than the Nintendo Switch console screen though. Also, the Nintendo Switch OLED model screen uses an OLED system. OLED screens are very vivid, but the Nintendo Switch 2 console's LCD screen is also quite striking. While it's true that the OLED model's colors are a little richer, the Nintendo Switch 2 console's screen can be brighter. The screen is also HDR compatible. For those who have both consoles, it might be interesting to compare them. Yeah, that's actually really interesting because a lot of people were like expecting an OLED screen on the Switch 2, but they switched to an LCD. Refresh rate and LCD. Number of times per second that the screen changes the image is called the refresh rate. For example, if the image were to change 60 times, I just had a motorbike go by really, really fast and it really stalled on me. That was some loud engine. And it's like, what? 1 o'clock in the morning. That is so weird. You do not hear it around here. Anyway, if an image were to change 60 times per second, you would say that its refresh rate is 60 Hz. In the case of the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen, it supports a refresh rate of 120 Hz. It also supports VRR, which allows for switching between various refresh rates. But each of these features have also been fine-tuned. If the image changes 120 times per second, the pictures do change incredibly. Whoa, 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 look at it go! Whoa! It also means anything that interferes with the signal, such as resistance, will have a more noticeable effect. This can ruin the image as a result, so we had to implement a few ways to reduce the amount of interference. Conversely, when there are fewer pictures changing per second, the colours gradually fade and the image gets darker. So we also had to find ways to ensure that the colours don't fade easily. Interesting. Let's do the quiz. These are getting very in-depth and I do like it. For having read the material, I've presented you with a quiz! Yes. It's time to get quizzical. Console screen, volume 2. Do we have a volume 1? I don't know. Question 1. Which of the following is used to produce a bright red... Wait, I thought following was spelt wrong then. That would be really funny. A bright red colour, an apple peel. Yes, a thick red filter. Question 2. The Nintendo Switch 2 screen outputs the image via which medium? Shadow puppetry, plasma, liquid crystal, or cathode ray tube? I don't think anyone is going to know what a cathode ray tube is if they were born when the Switch 2 comes out. But hey, I could be wrong. Liquid crystal. Also, I said born when the Switch 2 comes out. They've been an infant, so of course they won't know. What is the term for a number of times the screen changes the image per second? Quantum pulse sounds really, really cool, but it's refresh rate. Done! Of course, I got it right. This is the best. Perfect score! Yippee! A perfect score, brilliant! I see you learned much about the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen. I did. Jesus Christ, that list is so long. It appears some more console screen insights have appeared. Let's do this. You'll find about increased screen size, the process with which it lights up, and more. Let's go. There's a lot of reading in this episode. Strap in, guys. In terms of screen size, the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen is about 7.9 inches. Compare this with the Nintendo Switch's console's 6.2-inch screen, and the 7-inch screen of the OLED model. It's gotten pretty big. In fact, it's the biggest screen of all the Nintendo consoles to date. This makes it look even more impressive in tabletop and handheld modes. It's also easier to see when playing with others. By the way, it's actually slightly bigger than 7.9 inches. What? Wow, what a curveball. Nice. I thought they were going to say something else then. Sometimes bigger is better. The Nintendo Switch 2 console does have a large screen, which actually has some benefits you might not be aware of. For instance, a bigger screen means that a computer can do even more calculations. How? Well, the more calculations a computer performs, the hotter it gets. The larger the device, the less likely it is to heat up. This allows the computer to perform lots of calculations. So to lay it all out, the bigger the screen, the bigger the console. The larger the console, the less likely it is to heat up. The cooler it stays, the more calculations the computer can do. And the more calculations it can do, the more pictures and characters it can ultimately calculate. So, if the computer can calculate lots of pictures and characters, then the images will look clear and smooth and many characters can be moving at once! That's the goal anyway. I don't know why, that sounded really cool. A little light goes a long way. It does. Wow, that's a very bright light. Flashbang. Flashbang inbound! The Nintendo Switch 2 console screen lights up fully to display images. I mean, if it would light up partially, it would be very worrying. This light is produced by white LEDs. A single LED emits a tiny point of light. As they are, these little lights aren't enough to light up the whole screen, but with the use of a translucent plate called a light guiding plate, the light of an LED can be spread. There's a slight unevenness to this plate. This reflects the light in a complex, uneven way and spreads out. In this way, ... by lining up a bunch of LEDs next to the plate, the entire screen can light up. To ensure uniform brightness on the screen, we've experimented with different bumpy patterns, eventually settling on the current design. Nice. Bumpy design. Avid quiz readers like you probably love quizzes, right? Maybe, I don't know. Sure. I'll take your damn quiz. I don't want your damn lemons. In terms of size, wow, that's a tiny Switch. Pi! Oh, guys, Pi! 7.9. Or it's slightly bigger. What can the Nintendo Switch 2 console do now it's bigger? It can write essays, feel human emotions. Yes. Make many calculations. Perform science experiments. Jesus Christ. Technically, it can if you say if you were to do some illegal things to your Switch. Illegal, not as in like jail time, but illegal as in like outside Nintendo's liking. You could run science experiments. You could run folding at home. The light that lights up the entire Switch 2 screen starts out what kind of light? Light from fireplace. Yes. Thin rays or small dots? I don't know. Small dots. Oh, I got it right. Okay. Very well done. You achieved a perfect score. I'm tired. I must stay awake. You've awfully... why have I awfully acknowledged? You're awfully acknowledgeable. Sorry. About the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen. I'm proud of you. Aw, thank you. Also... Oh, wait, there's more? Oh, okay. You've read a truly staggering number of insights. Perhaps I'll share some tidbits about the tech demos. Ooh, please do tell. Did you know that if you press and hold B during the HDR fireworks demo, you can launch a different kind of firework? In the super resolution demo, you can use R to toggle between images instantly. And lastly, in the HD Rumble 2 motorcycle demo, you can press L and R to honk the horn! To tell you the truth, I wasn't aware of those either. The staff just told me. I'm saving that for later. I will go back and like do those and see what they're like, because that's kind of interesting how there's like hidden controls on some of these. Do you have any idea how thin the Nintendo Switch 2 screen is? I don't know why I said that in like sort of an angry manner. Do you have any idea what you've done, Jimmy? Console Insights 4. Let's have a look. A slightly lower screen. What? One thing about the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen is that it's actually a slightly different depth from the area around it. How slight, you ask? Ooh. That's that lower. Well, the screen is deeper by about the thickness of a piece of printer paper. It's barely noticeable, but this height difference helps prevent the screen from coming into contact with the floor or other surfaces. Interesting. A thinner screen. One thing about the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen is that it's made up of many overlapping parts. There's the LCD, liquid crystal display, a shadow-resistant film, a screen cover, transparent plastic, 2 polarizing plates, and a partridge in a pear tree. Oh, it's still going. 2 pieces of glass, a touch sensor, a light guiding plate, an LED film, and so on. That's a lot of parts. With all these parts layered on top of each other, there was a risk of the screen becoming too thick. There wouldn't be enough space left for the other parts. So we made the cover out of thin, tempered glass. For other parts, we chose the thinnest possible ones that we could find. I love how when they say this, I feel like they're like just scrambling around Nintendo's warehouse, like rummaging through like a box of trying to find like the thinnest thing they can find. Basically, we designed the screen to be as thin as possible. Interesting. A long, thin IC. Often on the inside of a computer, there's a component called an IC, an integrated circuit. It's typically square-shaped. As for the IC that controls the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen and touch input, it's pretty thin, measuring about 30mm by 1mm. It has to control more than 2 million dots called pixels, 1920 horizontally and 1080 vertically, as well as over 900 touch sensors. It uses over 3,000 wires to achieve this. In order to be able to attach all terminals connecting so many wires, the IC had to be long and thin. Interesting. ICU. Here's a quiz that I'm sure you have no problem acing. Yeah, I've done all the others. I guess we'll ace this one too. Console screen, volume 4. Question 1. What would you need to place on top of the Nintendo Switch screen? A sheet of printer paper. Question 2. The components are shown are layered on top of each other to make what part? The screen. Question 3. What shape is the IC integrated circuit? It is heart-shaped. Yeah, long and thin. Done. Done, done, done. Check. Perfect score. Of course, we have a perfect score. Major congratulations. Your perfect score demands a standing ovation. You are What is that word? Veritable. You're a veritable... I've never heard of that word. You're a veritable beast when it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2 console screen. Interesting. I don't know what a veritable is, but I guess it's a word. Small M, big A, small H. I've never heard of Ma in all my life. Ma. I'm guessing this insight is about the battery. More quizzes by the way, guys. I hope you're enjoying these quizzes. You can learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2 console's battery capacity here. You'll find about battery capacity, past batteries on Nintendo, and more. Okie dokie, here's battery insights for you. There's only 3, guys. It's okay, guys. 1.2 times battery capacity. In terms of performance, the Nintendo Switch 2 console is several times better than the Nintendo Switch console. Naturally, it means it requires more power. We've done our best to reduce the amount of power it uses, of course. But even after optimizing the console, we needed it to get more power. If we had used the same battery that's used in the Nintendo Switch, you wouldn't be able to use the Nintendo Switch 2 for very long. So for Nintendo Switch 2, we opted for a different battery. This new 5,220 mAh battery has 1.2 times the capacity of the old one. mAh stands for milliampere hours. An increase of 1.2 doesn't mean you'll be able to use the console for 1.2 times longer, but we did our best to maximize the time you could play on it. Battery longevity. We believe that video game consoles should become long-term companions. We'd like you to be able to keep using them for many years to come. That's why we did our best to make sure that the Nintendo Switch 2 console's battery lasts a long time. There are a few things we did to achieve this. Do I have to read every word like this so I don't stumble upon my words? No. We purposely tried to ensure that the battery doesn't get too much power when it's charged. If it did, the energy output would be slightly weakened, and the battery could begin to degrade. Also, it's easy to damage a battery with fast charging, so we've done our best to prevent this. Our focus was on how many times the console can be charged. We want it to be able to charge even more times on a smart device. Yeah, by the way, very sad that my phone, my personal phone, which is an iPhone 16 Pro, is on 99% battery capacity at 204 cycles, which made me cry a little bit. I miss 100% battery capacity. It's only downhill from here, guys. Nintendo has a history of using batteries to power game consoles, lithium-ion batteries in particular. Console battery life has been improving with successive generations. The Game Boy Advance SP had 600 mAh, Nintendo DS 850 mAh, Nintendo 3DS 1300 mAh, Nintendo Switch 4310. Jesus Christ, that's a big jump. And Nintendo Switch 2 has 52. Why was I 52 all the time? 5,220 mAh. Incidentally, the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance systems use dry cell batteries. In those days, if you ran out of battery while playing, you had to throw away the dry cell batteries and buy new ones. Yes. It's really funny that Xbox still uses dry cell batteries. Now that you've read everything, you deserve a quiz. It's optional. Okay, bye. Fine, I guess I better do it. Battery. There's no volume 1 or 2. This is the only one, guys. How much more battery capacity does the Switch have? 100 times! If only. Question 2. Why is the Nintendo Switch 2 console battery not supplied too much power? It helps prevent battery degradation. Question 3. What was used to power the Game Boy and Game Boy Advance systems? Dry cell batteries. Clockwork. Yeah, clockwork. Of course. And of course we get a perfect score. After I drink some more. I hope that quiz recharged your own batteries. I kind of did by having a drink. Getting my drink on, as the hip kids would say. My drink of choice is just apple juice, which is the same as what I've been drinking. I don't know. I go through phases. Oh, we go down here next. Ooh. Oh, you hear the fan? Can you hear the fan, guys? Ooh. Hello. So many of the things I've seen here have been inspiring. It makes me want to work as hard as everyone else. Everyone else? Everyone here, sorry. No, my hat, my precious hat. Well, I kind of have it. Haha, I win, you lose. Where's the fan stamp? Sure there's a fan stamp, right? Come on, fan stamp. There it is. Fan. I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. I'm your number one fan. You can learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2 console's heat dissipation methods here. You'll find out about the Nintendo Switch 2 console's fan, airflow, and more. Sure. Here's heat dissipation insights 1. Ooh, they curve round. Fancy. Electronic devices get hot. No shit. Some electronic devices can heat up the longer they run. They can get particularly hot when performing fast calculations, communicating rapidly, or running while being charged. And using devices that are hot to the touch definitely isn't fun. But that's not the only problem. If parts are too hot, the device itself may fail to work properly. Some parts could even break completely. To ensure this doesn't happen, Nintendo Switch 2 cools down parts in different ways so they don't get too hot. How do they cool down, you ask? I guess we'll find out in this little tidbit. A quiet fan. Nintendo Switch 2 console does its best to keep itself from heating up. One way it does this is with a built-in fan. This fan funnels air into the console and blows it at different parts. The hot air is then pushed out to keep things cool. The fan isn't always running though. First it uses the temperature sensor to check how hot the console is. If it's hot, the fan runs at high speed, but if it's not too hot, it will only spin a little. At low speeds, the fan will be so quiet you can barely hear it. Try putting your ear up to the fan and listening for yourself. No, because it's in the dark. Nice try, game. Air flows to the front and back. The Nintendo Switch 2 console contains a circuit board. The components on the circuit board generate heat. These need to be cooled down. To do this, air flows to both the front and back of the circuit board. Both sides are directly connected via the air inlet, and fans draw in air, ventilating both the front and back. And so, the components on both the front and back of the circuit board can be safely cooled. As opposed to what? Unsafely cooled? What? Easy airflow. To cool the Nintendo Switch 2 console with air, the airflow needs to be as smooth as possible. With good airflow, the fan doesn't have to push itself to high speeds. Air inlets were made on the underside to let air straight in. Also, can't believe they sliced the Switch 2 in half. No way. That's crazy. At the outlet, the air comes straight out unobstructed. Thanks to this and the console's more powerful fan, Nintendo Switch 2 provides roughly twice the airflow of the Nintendo Switch. You've read everything. Exceptional! Let's do the quiz. Wait, there's a quiz down there that I didn't do. Oh no! Oh no. Insights quiz. Heat dissipation. Volume 1. Question 1. What happens to electronic devices as they what? As they won? Why do I sound like a fucking twat? Like, I can't speak. I generally cannot speak. As they won. What do I recommend about WAM to have the server? They get sleepy, yeah. They get hot. Question 2. Which of the following is attached to the Nintendo Switch 2 console to cool down? Ice, a refrigerator. Yeah, a fan. Technically, an air conditioner. A fan. Air conditioner with less steps. Yeah. Where does the airflow over the Nintendo Switch 2 console circuit board to cool it down? Both the front and the back. Question 4. How much airflow does the Nintendo Switch 2 console provide in contrast? Twice as much. You can test it for yourself. I can't. I don't have my Switch. I don't know where it is. Perfect score. Amazing. Perfect score. Too cool. You obviously don't have any built-in heat dissipation because you're on fire. Yeah, okay. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. There are more insights on heat dissipation. Let's go do that. And then we'll go back round and do the quiz that I forgot to do. You can learn more about the Nintendo Switch 2 console's heat dissipation methods here. You'll find out how parts are sensitive to heat and how heat is transferred and more. I'll give you a hint. It's that copper thing right there. Bonk, bonk, bonk. Heat sensitive. One thing about the Nintendo Switch 2 console system memory is that it's susceptible to heat. The system memory should be kept as cool as possible. That's why it's positioned close to one of the air inlets. What's more, we made sure that it wasn't near other parts that heat up. And here's one last thing. The wiring conducts heat easily because it's made of copper. So we gave the system memory its own spot away from any wiring. This reduces the transferred heat, and as a result, the system memory is protected from heat. Heat is shred? Yeah, heat is shred. Inside the Nintendo Switch 2 console, it's normal for parts to get hot, but some parts are difficult to cool down with air alone. We use a couple of different materials. I thought I said methods. We use a couple of different materials to solve this. The first being graphite sheets, and the second a substance called thermal grease, both of which are good at conducting heat. By using these, heat is Okay. Please read the words that are on screen. Please. Also, I was going to say efficiently distributed, but it's evenly distributed. I'm going to say efficiently because it sounds better. It is efficiently distributed across the parts that get hot, so they only become a little warm. Because a lot of air gets to this warmer area, the console can be easily cooled. Graphite sheets have been attached to plastic on the back, as well as to other parts such as the micro SD express memory card slot. The thermal grease, meanwhile, is used for the main computer. The computer room! Transferring heat. Do you know which part of the Nintendo Switch 2 console produces? Again, I can't speak! It'll probably be the main CPU, no? Yeah, I'm right. I'm always right. It's the main computer, also known as a SoC. SoC. All this heat from the SoC needs somewhere to go, which is where the heat pipe comes in. Carries the heat to the air outlet. The inside of the heat pipe is a vacuum. There's a little water in there too. The water is heated by the SoC, turns into steam. Oh my god, it's a vapor chamber. Oh, that's cool. Okay. Turns into steam and moves towards the cooler side. Then when it reaches the air outlet, it turns back to water and returns to the SoC for a process called capillary action. This carries on over and over, transporting heat to the air outlet. This way, even the part that generates the most heat gets cooled down. That's cool. I didn't realize it was like a vapor chamber kind of thing. I think it's a vapor chamber anyway. Heat dissipation. Insights quiz. 3 questions. Heat dissipation. Volume 2. Question 1. What measure was implemented for heat for transferring across the space marked in red? A shet. Yes, a shet of curtains. A set of curtains. Wiring was kept away. Which heat conducting substance is used to distribute the heat of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer? Bacon grease. Thermal grease. Question 3. What moves around inside the heat pipe to transfer heat from the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer? Special oil. Yes. A small amount of water. A special oil. Ooh. Perfect score. Amazing. Yes, I am amazing. Hey, look, it's the people again. Would you look at that? You got all the answers right. Next time I need some advice on heat dissipation, I know who to ask. Me! Look, I'm a nerd! Also, shouldn't you know? Really? You're almost done with... Oh my god, we're almost done with all the quizzes. That's incredible! You're incredible! You've nearly finished with the Expeditions quizzes. So for you to have read so many, you have no idea how happy it makes me. Oh. Speaking of, I should probably go back and do that other quiz before she realizes. Run! Flee! Hello. Wireless communication. Ah, okay. Yeah. Wait, did this quiz appear because I went up to the little Wi-Fi antenna up there? Was this here before? I don't know if this was here before, but we have quite a bit of insight. Different types of wireless communication. When it comes to wireless communication on Nintendo Switch 2, a few different methods are possible. There's online communication via Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. Bluetooth communication between Nintendo Switch 2 console and other devices such as Joy-Con 2 controllers. Near-field communication, NFC with Amiibo, and local communication between Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. Quite a list, huh? And since none of these communication methods involve cables, you don't have to worry about anything getting in their way or tangled up. Wireless communication can be pretty convenient. Yes. I can say that, but like, I don't know, I kind of like the cable transfer that you had with the Game Boy. That was actually pretty neat. I can't believe they're showing us as much as they are. Yes, I actually can't believe it either. Anyway, back to quiz. 3 antenna. Wait, it was 3? Oh, I only found 1. There are 3 antennas. Here there is, where they all are. The 3 antennas exchange signals with other devices. They use to connect devices such as Joy-Con 2 controllers, Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controllers, or Bluetooth headphones. They can also be used to connect to the internet via Wi-Fi or to other Nintendo Switch 2 consoles. What's more, the parts encasing the antennas as well as the console itself have an additional function that actually help the antennas work. Wait, how? What? Oh, the parts encasing, right. Is it going to tell us about the parts encasing? Maybe it will here. The Wi-Fi signal uses for online communication and the Bluetooth signal used for devices such as Joy-Con 2 can get mixed up. If we don't employ extra measures to prevent this, it can result in poor communication between devices. So to help prevent this, we make sure the signals take turns. The console can use either Wi-Fi or Bluetooth, but not at the same time. It can switch between these 2 types of communication very quickly. It also ever so slightly offsets the type of signal used. With these measures in place, the signals have a much lower risk of getting mixed up. This is why you can't use local communication when you're on Wi-Fi, by the way. Fun fact. The human body and antennas. Fun fact! It's difficult for radio signals to pass through the human body. So when the console is using Wi-Fi communication, if your hands and body are close to the antennas, it may weaken the signal. We took steps to make sure that the signal wouldn't get weakened too much. One way we did this was by considering the positioning of the antennas. It was chosen to ensure that your hands aren't blocking the antennas when playing in handheld mode. As for the Joy-Con 2 controller's antennas, there are different ways to hold controls depending on the game, so we tried to distribute them evenly as best that we could. Then there are the antennas on the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro controller. There's only one way to hold the Pro controller, so we get the antennas away from your expected hand position. Basically, the antennas will be positioned based on how you would be holding the controllers. Nintendo and wireless technology. Here we go, history lesson guys. In the past, Nintendo game consoles used cables, but as time went on, there was a gradual shift to wireless technology. It used to be that when you wanted to connect 2 game consoles together to play, the link cable! Oh! You would need a special cable to link them. The Game Boy and Game Boy Advance systems are examples of this. Later, a special adapter enabled wireless communication for Game Boy Advance. Nintendo DS followed with wireless communication capabilities as well. As for controllers, up until the Nintendo GameCube, Nintendo controllers had to be connected with a cable. What about the Wavebird? Oh! This is when the Wavebird controller came along, which uses dedicated radio signals. The Wii Remote after this uses Bluetooth. A similar shift can be seen in regard to internet connections. Nintendo GameCube had to be connected to the internet via a LAN cable, via this weird, wacky accessory that no one ever bought and was hardly sold. After this, Nintendo DS and Wii went on to use Wi-Fi technology. Starting from the 2000s, the number of Nintendo devices utilizing wireless communication has steadily increased. I don't think it was 2000, I think it was like more like 2009, like 5 or 6, but still 2000s. Insights quiz! 5 questions, wireless communication. Communicate. Which of the following can communicate wirelessly with a Nintendo Switch 2 called Hana Thunder playing? Yes, the Alamo! Oh my god! Oh my god! That's crazy. It's of course Amiibo, but these are pretty cool little throwbacks. Which are the 3 inside that? Which are the 3? There are 3 of these inside the Nintendo Switch 2 console. What are they? Antennas. They're umbrellas, obviously. They keep the water out. Gah. When a Nintendo Switch 2 console uses wireless communication, which of the following are offset? Radio waves. Tidal waves. Which of the following is the most difficult? The human body. Because we have thick and weird bones. I don't know where I was going with that. Historically, through which medium has Nintendo game console communicated with each other on the controllers? Obviously, the best, the postal service. Physical cables. So nice. Sounds pretty cool, actually. Boink. Right. That's fantastic. You got every question right. You're so good at communicating about Nintendo Switch 2 wireless communication. Yes. I tell all my friends about the Nintendo Switch 2 wireless communication. It is my life. Anyway, let's head back to where we were. And we're back. Fun fact, during that little intermission, we have hit 1 hour on the recording. So this is going up to be the longest episode to date. Oh, hello. Heatsink. Yay, another stamp. Ugh, this is going to be a pain to get all the stamps. Which way do I go first? I can go across the heat pipe, which is, what do you say? It's all so exciting. It's been decades since I've been to an exhibition this big. It has, to be fair. What about up here? What do you have to say? Oh, another stamp. Wireless antenna upper. Hello. This area is jam-packed with info. Ooh, we got a game. We actually have a game. Shoot, we don't have clear medals. What should we do? Want to go to the previous area and get some more medals? There are some tech demos we haven't done yet, and for minigames, we only have 1 medal for. A second medal. Think you can put it off? I think I can. This minigame can be so satisfying when you do it just right. This area seems isolated, so I guess this is where... Oh, actually, no, we can go across here. And then we can go across... Oh my god, there's so much stuff! Ah! Okay. Let's not get too ahead of ourselves. We'll do this quiz. Do you know... we'll do the game because I want a game. Because we're gamers. Ah, there we are. 34 glittering medals. Breaststroke Floaty Frustration is now available. Floaty Frustration. As you may already know, the Joy-Con 2 and Joy-Con R are equipped with mouse sensors. This means you can use 2 mice at the same time. In this minigame, you'll be using 2 mice, 1 on each hand, and moving them to swim the breaststroke. Swim as fast as you can to reach the goal. Sound easy, right? Well, there's just one thing. In this game, it's extremely difficult to swim straight forward. The trick is to make large sweeping motions. That way you can propel yourself forward in bursts. Let's try it out. I am going to have to scooch over a little bit so I'm more central with my mouse pad. So... Right. Hello, I'm shifted over. Hopefully you can still hear me. I just might be off center. Right. Reach the goal using breaststroke. 3, 2, 1. Wah! Oh wait. Oh no. Oh no! I don't have enough space on my mouse pad. That sucks. Okay, I'm gonna have to restart. Okay. Ow. Go. I genuinely don't have enough space. Okay, I'm gonna have to use it on my lap. That might be the strap. Okay, a bit over this way. A bit over that way. Oh, come on, please. Ugh. Ow. Oh, that was a big one. That way. That way. Why is it going to the left all of a sudden? There we go. Okay. I do need to use my lap for this because I do not have enough space on my mouse pad. Right. I'm also more central now. Arms out. Swim. Oh, this is good. Swim. Come on! You can do it! 0.21. Oh my god, are you kidding me? Are you actually kidding me? Alright. We got this. Swim. Wait. Oh, this is good. Yes! Wait, 10 seconds? Oh, wait. I didn't see the 10 seconds. Okay. Try again. Oh no. Oh, we did it! Yes! Let's go. Also, I figured out why I was going like to the left. Oh no, sorry, the right. I don't know left and right apparently. It's because I was pressing the button first and then submerging that and then doing the other one, and so I guess it kind of threw off. But yeah, that was good. We floated our frustrations. That is the final game, which means it's all quizzes from here. You better get ready for the quizzes. I see you streamlined the technique for both your hand motions. I did. Right, back to quizzing. Do you know why the microphone is built into the console? Or maybe you're curious about the history of Nintendo's chat features. Let's learn about the stuff. Here is Microphone Insights 2. Wait, 2? All kinds of microphones. The Nintendo Switch 2 console does have a built-in microphone, but you can also use a different microphone if you'd like. For instance, you can plug a microphone into the audio jack, or you can attach it via USB port to the console or the dock. There isn't an XLR port, so I can't attach this one. Sorry. You can even plug it into the Nintendo Switch 2 Pro Controller's audio jack. You've got plenty of options, so feel free to take your pick. Whichever microphone you settle on, the chip will make your voice easy to hear. Maybe we learned about that chip, didn't we? One microphone is enough. One microphone enough. You might notice that the Nintendo Switch 2 console only has a single microphone. Sure, there are some devices out there that come fitted with 2 or 3. Having 2 or 3 microphones make it easier to pick up a person's voice from a specific direction. But in TV mode, you're free to point the Nintendo Switch 2 dock in any direction you want. You're also free to speak anywhere in the room. This means you don't need the microphone specifically pointing at someone. Also, Nintendo Switch 2 has a chip that makes it easier to pick up your voice. And it's customized specially for games and clapping. Remember that, guys, clapping. So it can pick up your voice loud and clear. And that's why just a single microphone will be enough. Nice. A single microphone. Why is there a mic on the console? Well, you see, the Nintendo Switch 2 microphone is built into the console. We initially considered putting it somewhere else, like on the Switch 2 dock, the Joy-Con 2 grip, or onto the Joy-Con 2. The problem was, the microphone will only be usable in TV mode if it was part of the dock, and would be usable in handheld mode if it was part of the grip. If we put it on... Wait, what do you mean? What? Oh, wait, handheld mode, as in, like, putting the controllers on. Cool. If we put it on a Joy-Con 2 controller, it would have made it harder for the microphone to pick up voices when you're using motion control. Oh yeah, because you would just be like, boom, boom, boom. We wanted to make the mic easy to use. We wanted to apply whether you're using the console in handheld mode, TV mode, or tabletop mode. Not to mention when you're using motion controls. That's why we decided to build it into the console. I feel like I'm losing my voice a little bit reading all of this. That's last my drink. Lovely. Right. Nintendo and chat features. When it comes to voice chat, Nintendo has had, I won't say long-standing. You need only look back on titles like Pokemon Diamond and Pearl for the Nintendo DS, Animal Crossing City Folk for Wii and its compatibility with the Wii Speak accessory, Pokemon X and Y for the Nintendo 3DS, Wii Chat for Wii U, and the Nintendo Switch Online Smart Device app for Nintendo Switch as of May 2025. Yes, the best, superior one. Players have been able to use their voice in a lot of different ways. What's more, you can even talk with people far away using the light telephone released in 1971, exclusive to Japan. Of course it's exclusive to Japan. Why would it be? Why would it not be exclusive? Oh, hello. Game card slot. Oh, this is the game card slot. Nice. There's a man swimming on the game card slot. You won't mind if I spring a quiz on you, right? Yeah, sure. Why not? Microphone volume 2. Question 1. Which of the following devices can you connect a microphone to in order to easily hear people's voices? All of the above! Question 2. How many microphones are built into the Switch 2 console? Just one! Just one microphone is needed! Just one microphone is needed. In which mode is the Nintendo Switch 2 console's microphone intended to be used? All of the above. So it's just that multifunctional. What could you use to chat when using the Wii Speak accessory? Paper, cups, and string. Yes. Your voice. Of course. Why would it not be your voice? Oh, wait. Perfect score. Amazing. Amazing. You might know more about microphones than I do. Maybe. I don't think so. Right. What is this? Is there a stamp for this? Surely there's a stamp from this. It's such an empty area. Come on, man. You know what? We'll go along the heat pipe. We'll go along the heat pipe. Why not? Heat pipe, heat pipe. Piping heat. Pipe, pipe, pipe. Did I talk to you? Yes, I did. Right. The insights here are pretty tough to wrap your head around, but the explanations are easy to follow. People who don't know much about the computers should give this a read. Oh, I also don't have a choice. I have to be on this heat pipe, and heat pipe. Nice. I have to be on the heat pipe because it's the only way to get to this quiz, so I technically skipped ahead, but who cares? Are you familiar with the SoC? How about a CPU, GPU? Well, want to learn about these things? Yes. I thought so. Here's Main Computer Insights 1. Oh, we're going deep, boys. We're going deep. The main computer. What have we here? Why, it's the Nintendo Switch 2 console main computer, of course. Oh, look, NVIDIA mentioned. It's what's known as a SoC, System on a Chip. This single chip has all sorts of capabilities. It acts as both the CPU and GPU, handles videos and sound, extracts compressed data, shows images on screen, and interacts with the main memory and system memory. Needless to say, it's a very important chip. It's made by NVIDIA as well. The Kapoo. Within the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, there's a part called the CPU, Central Processing Unit. It calculates how characters move, switches from one scene to another. In short, lots of calculations are happening here. The Nintendo Switch 2's console's CPU is several times faster than the CPU in the Nintendo Switch console. The faster the CPU is, the better it is at displaying lots of characters on screen, and the better it is at performing more complex motion. Let me guess. The GPU! Within the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, you'll find the GPU, Graphics Processing Unit. Its main purpose is to perform calculations for drawing images on... Is that tutorial water? That's pretty cool if it is. The Nintendo Switch 2 console's GPU is several times faster than the GPU in the Nintendo Switch console. The faster the GPU is, the better it is at generating more complex and detailed images. Note, the video is purely for reference. Oh, I can see the difference. Wait, go back. Ooh. Hello, Polly? Hi, Polly. Also, the GPU is where machine learning... Wait, ray tracing on the Switch? The Switch has ray tracing? Huh? I didn't know that. Oh, interesting. Anyway, quiz time. This is the point where I give you a quiz. Of course it is. Why would you not give me a quiz? Main computer, volume 1. What three letters are used to refer to Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer? Dog, hot, sock, cat. System on chip. All those sound really funny. Which part of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer calculates things like scene transitions and how characters move? The CPU. Question 3. The GPU. These don't have any funny options to pick from. Of course I got it right. That was a very easy quiz. I saw you spawn in. I saw you spawn in, quiz. That's a perfect score. Way to go! Would you say that the main computer is one of your main interests now? And we're getting to the end. The end is in sight, guys. Oh, I guess this means you aren't done with these insights just yet. What are your thoughts on super resolution? How about ray tracing? What do you think of that? I am very intrigued. I didn't know this thing could ray trace. A sharper, more detailed picture. With the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, sharper and more detailed images can be produced. This process is called super resolution. In games that support super resolution, the computer performs machine learning calculations and predicts what kind of detailed picture it should draw. This results in a cleaner, more detailed picture. I thought it was going to explain DLSS, honestly. Machine learning... Wait, maybe this is what it actually is now going to explain to me. Inside the GPU of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, there's a place for performing machine learning calculations. This place is what are called... Oh my god, tensor cores. This place contains what are called tensor cores. Using certain fixed patterns, tensor cores can perform multiplication and addition incredibly quickly. These operations are used to perform machine learning calculations. There are plenty of things that can be done with machine learning calculations. For example, you can make the game's pictures clearer and more detailed. Or you can erase everything except the people from a camera's video feed. Interesting. Ray tracing. Inside the GPU of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main computer, there's a place that calculates ray tracing, which is a way of drawing images. Oh, wait, which is a way of drawing images. I thought it was going to continue. I did not see the full stop. This place contains what are called RT cores. RT cores can calculate whether or not there's light hitting polygons, and it does this incredibly quickly. In games that use ray tracing, these calculations can be used to simulate light reflections and make images look more realistic. Ooh, the glow up! The glow up! I like that. I see you've read all the insights. I have indeed. I learned something new. Switch 2 can ray trace. Main computer, volume 2. Question 1. Through which process does the Nintendo Switch 2 console main computer draw sharper, more detailed pictures? Alastanian Vacation Super Resolution. That's not even funny. What does the part of the Nintendo Switch 2 console's GPU that can quickly perform addition and multiplication calculate? Loose change dates the number, technically the number by. Machine learning calculations. The number I could slip in somewhere, you know. What can be simulated with the Nintendo Switch 2 console's GPU ray tracing calculations? Company management, yeah. I pressed the wrong one. I pressed the wrong one. Why did I press the wrong one? Bear with me. I do get to see the glow up again, which is pretty cool. Right, we're taking the quiz again because I suck and I can't press buttons. Right, question 1. Super resolution. Machine learning calculations. Light reflections, not characters' feelings. Grumble. Anyway, we got it right. That's all that matters. Yippee! Perfect score, amazing! Whee! Right, that is the heat pipe done. We're moving onwards and up. Well, actually, technically downwards, actually. But what way is the... I guess, yeah, actually, yeah, downwards. Okay. Oh god, after this we're gonna go run around and get all the stat. Oh, hello. I already talked to you. I didn't think I talked to you for some reason. Here we go. Oh, there's so many quizzes. Ah, okay, you're killing me. You can learn about the Nintendo Switch 2 console's memory here. You'll get to find out the particulars of the console's memory, such as its speed. Ooh, interesting. Let's go. Main memory versus system memory. There are 2 kinds of memory at play here. One is main memory and the other is system memory or internal storage. Both types of memory read and write data, but they're actually different from one another. Main memory is read from and written to faster, but the data is lost when the Nintendo Switch 2 console is powered off. It's also known as RAM. System memory, however, has slower read and write operations, but the data is retained when the console is powered off. Nice retaining of the data there. For that reason, the main computer uses main memory when it needs to read and write faster. However, it uses the console's system memory to store downloaded games. For example, the downloaded games on the console's system memory are loaded into the main memory before the main computer begins to read and write. Each memory type does the work it's best suited for. Bigger main memory. The Nintendo Switch 2 console's main memory loads programs and data for the console's system memory. Main memory can also be used to store the results of the main computer's calculations. The Nintendo Switch 2 system's main memory is 3 times as large than that of the Nintendo Switch's systems. This can be used to display more character models and create larger worlds. Interesting. Faster main memory. Bigger, faster. Let me guess. Is the next one going to be stronger memory, and then we're going to be like Daft Punk? The Nintendo Switch 2 console's main memory has twice as much circuitry as the Nintendo Switch's consoles. It also uses a method that lets it read and write data twice as fast. So compared to the Nintendo Switch 2, the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main memory is up to 4 times faster. It's faster in many areas and able to perform more calculations in the same amount of time. Not only that, the Nintendo Switch 2 console's main memory is comparable to that of smart devices. That said, on many smart devices, the main memory is found on top of the main computer. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, the main memory is located away from the main computer. This makes it harder for the main memory to heat up and allows for additional circuitry. It's designed to perform a lot of calculations. Cool. Memory refresh. When it comes to the console's main memory, data written to the main memory will be lost once the power is shut off. To prevent this data loss, power must be supplied repeatedly. This is called refreshing. When it comes to the Nintendo Switch 2, data is not easily lost. It refreshes more than 200,000 times per second. That's a lot of times per second. I wonder if that 200,000 times will be an answer to a quiz. Who knows? Question 1. Which of the following reads and writes data? I was just saying data. Is main memory. Let me guess. Is the it's not the opposite. Okay. Nintendo Switch 2 console main memory can handle how much more data? 3? I don't know. I wasn't listening. Oh, it's so late. The Nintendo Switch 2 console's main memory does not get hot easily because it's located from what? The main computer. Question 4. How many times does the Nintendo Switch 2... Oh, of course. Is it more than... no. Surely. Maybe. Oh my god, I got it all right. No way. We stay winning. We stay winning. Oh. Nice one. Not a mistake in sight. You must have retained a lot about the Nintendo Switch 2 console memory. I did. Because I have memory. Hello, sir. Oh, now I get it. This was a direct look into the... Really? Really? They cooked up something quirky yet again, but quirky in a good way. The insights here sure take me back. Really? He walked all the way through this and he now only just realizes. What? Okay, whatever. You can learn about the Nintendo Switch 2 console storage here. You'll get to know about the console's storage speed, past examples of Nintendo downloadable game data, and more. I am interested in learning. There's only 3 insights. 256 GB. Plenty of things can be stored in the Nintendo Switch 2 system memory, from game save data and downloadable games, to photos and videos taken with the capture button. It has a capacity of 256 GB. That's 8 times more memory than the system memory of the Nintendo Switch, 4 times more than the OLED model. This means it's easier to add games that take up more space. Good to know. I always thought it was 128, but apparently it's 256. When it comes to reading from and writing to the system memory, Nintendo Switch 2 works differently from Nintendo Switch. Assuming a buffer size of 4 megabytes, Nintendo Switch 2 can read and write roughly 8 times faster than its predecessor. However, is this the same as the other one? I feel like it is. Oh, hang on, this is new. Out of all the storage mediums that hold game data, it's the system memory that can read the fastest. It's even faster than a game card or a micro SD express memory card. Okay, so all those comparisons you see on YouTube, you don't need them. The system memory always wins. Nintendo and saving downloadable games, or downloaded games. Nintendo has a long history of letting you save games in the form of downloads. Wii, 2006. Wait, we only had 512 megabytes? That is crazy. That only had, what, 128? Is that 128 megabytes? Interesting. 3DS saved to SD card. Wii U 2012, 8 gigabytes to 32. Also, this is measured in blocks, by the way. Last system to measure in blocks. Nintendo Switch, 32 or 64 gig on the OLED model. And let's not forget about Satellaview, say to a 0.001 gig memory pack. This peripheral for the Super Famicom lets you download games via satellite. We have offered you ways to download and save games for as long as Nintendo has been a household name. I don't know if any of the Satellaview stuff has been backed up. I feel like they might have, but obviously you had to have downloaded the thing at the time. And obviously with such small memory storage, you can only store a little bit, maybe 1 or 2 games. Question 1. How many gigabytes? It has 256. That's a lot of gigabytes. Which of the following is the fastest? It is the console system memory. Which of the following Nintendo services was the first? It was the Satellaview. Satellaview. That sounds just really cool. Satellaview. And of course we got it all right because we're amazing. All the answers are correct. Great work. I'm so glad to see you have a full understanding of the console storage. We're getting close, guys. We're getting close. What is down here? Oh, there is a stamp here. Speaker right. Oh, there's a speaker left that we missed. We missed because we suck. Hello. You can learn about the Switch 2's console operating system. You'll learn how Nintendo Switch games run on Nintendo Switch 2, Nintendo's past operating system, and more. Your interest is piqued. Actually, it is. Let's have a look. Oh, these insights are bunched together. The operating system. Not every piece of Nintendo Switch 2 software is a game. The console comes installed with software that's always running in the background. This is called the operating system, or OS for short. The OS helps game developers by making it easier to create games. You can also download software and update data while you're playing games, find out what your friends are up to, send out notifications, and more. The OS quietly supports games in the background. A dedicated gaming operating system. Gaming! Well, I mean, if you want a dedicated one, there's a SteamOS. Can the Switch 2 run SteamOS? Well, yeah, no. Switch 2 operating system is dedicated to gaming. In fact, that's specifically what it was made for. Operating systems found in smart devices and PCs are designed to do many things. But when an OS is dedicated to gaming, it focuses solely on game-related tasks. That's why it was designed to be small. This allows for more of the console's processing power and memory to be used on games. The Nintendo Switch 2 console is designed for playing games after all, so games are naturally prioritized. Does it say how small the operating system is? It does not. We'll go that into detail. Wii U, what? Inside the Wii U console, there's a Wii computer. This lets you play Wii games on the Wii U. However, the Nintendo Switch 2 console is different. You won't find a Nintendo Switch computer inside. The Nintendo Switch 2 computer works differently from the Nintendo Switch computer. This means that the Nintendo Switch games work as they are. Despite this, you can still play Nintendo Switch games on Nintendo Switch 2. How is this possible? Magic. Well, when you play a Nintendo Switch game, the OS adapts it to the way the Nintendo Switch 2 console works. It does so by rewriting Nintendo Switch programs such as shader binaries on the fly. When you play a Nintendo Switch game, the Nintendo Switch 2 OS is rewriting things in the background. By the way, because you're playing a Nintendo Switch game on a Nintendo Switch 2, which is not using the Nintendo Switch computer, you may notice some improved performance such as faster loading times and smoother gameplay. That's really cool, actually. Firmware. Firmware. This isn't strictly related to the operating system, but there are a number of different computers inside the Nintendo Switch 2 console and its accessories. The main computer is just one of them. For example, the Joy-Con 2 controllers and dock each contain their own computers. In fact, every single game card contains a computer. Not only that, each computer has its own software that runs on it. This software is called firmware. Because the Nintendo Switch console is, the Nintendo Switch 2 console inside designed for playing games, we've customized each piece of firmware to make it easier to use with games. In other words, each Joy-Con 2 controller, dock, firmware, and... Sorry, I'm actually losing my voice here. The recording has been going on for 1 hour 33, and I've just been talking straight like a fucking bullet train. Each Joy-Con 2 controller, dock, and game card runs its own custom firmware. There we go. Nintendo operating system. Nintendo game consoles have had their own operating system for some time. Ever since Wii No, that's wrong. That's wrong. The GameCube. The GameCube. You forgot about the GameCube. Ever since the Wii, in fact. Nintendo 64 and Nintendo DS also had operating systems. But in these cases, the OS is mainly... Wait, what? Really? What? But the DS has a thing. No? Anyway. Since the release of the Wii, the OS has been running... The OS has been installed on the console instead, running in the background. It has performed all sorts of functions to improve your gameplay experience. For example, Wii Connect 24 for Wii, Street Pass and Spot Pass for Nintendo 3DS, Miiverse. I miss Miiverse. Switching between TV and tabletop and handheld mode on the Nintendo Switch, and so on. Nice. Looks like you've read it all. I did read it all. It's time to give you a quiz. This should be a final quiz. If it isn't, I will cry. I won't cry, but I might cry. Operating system. Question 1. What is the name of the software that comes installed in the Nintendo Switch 2 and runs in the background? The PS, the DS, the OS, the VS. This is Sony, the PlayStation. The OS. Question 2. What operating system does the Nintendo Switch 2 console use? It uses an OS, same OS used for HANA funded playing cards. Yes, of course. Could cards have a computer in them? What allows Nintendo Switch 2 to play Nintendo Switch games? It is a operating system rewriting data in the background. Question 4. What type of software runs the Nintendo Switch 2 computer? Joy-Con 2 controllers and other Nintendo devices. Firmware, homeware, T-ware, streetwear. Yes, firmware. Nintendo has been releasing game consoles with operating systems installed since the release of which gaming console? The Wii. Wii. There we go, we're done. And we got it right. Perfect score. Yippee! Oh, hello. It can't be. You completed all the quizzes. We did it. We completed all the quizzes. We did it. There we go. Thank you for playing. Woo! There we go. Insights quizzes completed. You've read all the insights. This is truly a remarkable moment. There's a lot of technology and especially effort that you can't see just by looking at the surface. That's why we wanted to provide insight. We wanted anyone to appreciate all Nintendo Switch 2 has to offer. Hope all of this helped you gain a deeper appreciation of its workings. Thank you for having read so many insights. It really means a lot to me. Aww. Oh, hello. Stamp. Wireless antenna left. Nice. Okay, so that is all of... Oh, there's a little crown as well. Nice. Oh, don't go outside. That is all of the... That should be all of the mini-games, right? Oh, yeah, we need to go back. Tech demos we can't do. Stamps, I guess, is next. But firstly, I'm intrigued down here of what this one wants. Wait, there's another area? Oh, there's another area. This might not be the end. This might not be the final episode. Okay. I am going to go on stamp hunt duty because we are missing quite a lot. Yeah. I genuinely have no idea where they could be. I honestly have not a clue. I know where 1 or 2 could be. Oh, actually. Oh, hello. Audio jack. Okay, we found 2. Because we have the USB-C upper next to it. There we go. Wait, are we viewing this from the wrong side? I feel this is flipped. Yeah, this is like kind of flipped. Oh, okay. It's a very weird angle that we're in. I guess no, actually no. I guess we'll flip the console upside down, so it would make sense. Okay. I need to get the speaker for the left side because there was one for the right, and that should be here. Yep. Nice. Speaker. Now it's everything else. What are you? Are you a stamp? No, you're not. Okay. This may take a while because what are you? Anything in here? Oh wait, we can go down here. Can we? No. There should be a way to get around to the other parts. No, because what? Surely there must be stamps for like the storage. The ribbon cable. I am genuinely stumped. I might have to cut the recording and find these myself. So I'm going to edit out. I will come back when I find a stamp. Oh, hello. I found one. Brightness sensor. Oh wait, are they just along the strip here where the buttons would be? Oh my god, they are. They literally are. No way. I found it, guys. Woo. There we go. Those are all of the stamps on the inside of the Switch 2 in their area. So I guess next time we're going to be going down to whatever this is. I will see you guys next time. But not before. I didn't forget. Not before. We're going to go on the floor and do this. Okay. I'll be back in a second. Also, Floor Gang, you get your redemption one last time. Hope you're happy. Hello, Floor Gang. Welcome back. I never thought I'd be on the floor again, but here we are. We're going to check out a short 3D sound experience, according to this guy. Also, I can really feel my voice straining, so I'm going to struggle to talk over the game audio. The sound just doesn't play from a pair of speakers. The console does some calculations to make it look like you're really hearing in 3D. Right, let's go. Let's hop in. I highly doubt you guys are going to be able to tell the difference because, I don't know, I'm recording on an iPhone, which does support spatial sound, but I don't think YouTube supports spatial sound, so. Anyway, listen to the helicopter, what? Okay, this sounds... Oh, okay. It does sound like it's going from different places. Yeah. What if I go default? Default is... Oh, I think default is just left and right. Okay. I can't tell because it's flying in like weird locations. Yeah, default is left and right. Move the helicopter. Ooh. I can go up and down. Ooh. I need to have to see if it is left and right. Yeah, it's left and right. Cool. Yeah. Okay, it's pretty cool. I guess we can fly a helicopter around. Let's land. Can I land? I can land. Oh no, it stops when you land. Oh, it's cute. And then we take off. Ooh. Oh wow, that went forward really fast. How high can we go? Can we go high? No, maybe? We're still going, I think it's one of those things where it just slows down over time. But yes, let's fly off into the distance. Goodbye. There we go, that's your 3D sound, which means we've done every single tech demo. There we go. Floor Gang, there we go. Tech demo is completed. You wouldn't see this if you weren't on the Floor Gang. This is a floor exclusive. There we go. You flew that chopper like a pro. Do you have a license or something? Actually, to be fair, I have actually flown a plane before. Pretty cool. Pretty cool feeling. Just like the feeling that it was coming out of the different, different places on the speakers. There we go. So, next time on the Switch 2 Welcome Tour, we're going to be hopping into whatever the hole is over here. No, not over there. Wrong speaker. This is really loud. Turn down. Thank you. We're going to be hopping over to this hole here, wherever it may lead us. See you guys later. Goodbye, Floor Gang. This may be the last time we meet. It's very sad, actually. Quite bittersweet. But I secretly love you, Floor Gang. Peace out.